Hey, Larissa. Hey, Larissa.
Hey.
I am just trying to figure out how to turn off my calendar notifications because I figured out that even if I have my calendar closed but my Chrome is open, it starts binging at me. Oh, here, settings. Okay, I think I got it. Oh, Myrna. Hi, Myrna. Oh, I thought I could make you co-host, but I think,
No, there's just one host allowed.
oh, I thought I paid and then I'm supposed to allow co-hosts. My mom's has co-host. She must have a different kind of account.
Really? Oh, I didn't know you could do a co-hosting.
Okay, I'm making you the host.
It's still recording on your end though, right?
Yes,
Okay,
I got it to record automatically.
perfect.
Hi.
Um, okay, Paige is just copying.
Daphne, I just
Yes.
sent a link to if you need to add a host, how to do it.
Hi, Paige.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I've got Larissa and Myrna on the call, and I'm just gonna go put my lipstick on.
Oh, I gotta do the same thing.
And Myrna, you said this is how you do co-hosting. I have to do like
I
a
think
settings
so,
thing.
yeah. Yeah.
I've been having some periodic connectivity issues this morning with Zoom, and hopefully it's a non-issue.
Okay.
But I'm closing like everything else that I have open so that.
Myrna, can you find us some project management jokes just in case? Because you know our last webinar page, the speaker went into like a coughing fit. She like thought she had COVID and she had to like leave and she was like running around the room and it was quite.
Oh
And I didn't
dear.
have any HR jokes, none.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it seems okay right now, but it's been periodic, and I've been, of course, I live on Zoom now. This
Yes.
is all I do. Anything you guys want me to know about this format or how we're rolling with this?
Yeah, so I'm going to like introduce you and I'm going to talk to whoever shows up and say, this is how you raise your hand and this is how you use the chat. So that's pretty much it. And then I might just ask questions and just based on what you're teaching, and that's all. And then Myrna and Larissa are going to just monitor questions as they come in, so they feed them to me. So you really don't have to worry about anything, just teaching whatever you're going to teach.
Great. Okay, I'm going to get myself set up in a few different ways. I'm getting Asana on my.
Okay.
I'm trying to like close out of things I don't need, and not have random chat windows open. That good stuff.
Yes, all those kind of things.
And then I'm also trying to have Slack open without having it, but I'll set myself to away. I'm saying, sort of like thinking out loud.
Yeah, so it's not like banging at you like it just did there. I don't know why it does that.
Exactly.
I thought I turned those settings off.
And then.
And Miriam, I'm trying to look at that doc that you sent me. I don't know if there's a way to turn this thing on. Enabling a co-host. Navigate to the co-host on the meetings tab. Account settings. Okay. Oh, here we go.
Daphne,
Yes.
the link to the Google Doc, is it the same as last time?
Yeah, let's use the same one.
Yeah.
Do we have it?
Okay,
I
perfect.
just shared it.
Yeah. Larissa sent it to me. Thanks,
Okay.
Larissa.
You have it, right, Daphne?
No, can you private message?
Did you get it? I sent it to your, or do you want me to send it on Slack as well?
Ooh, I just turned on co-hosting. This is so good.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, let's see. Larissa, can you make me a co-host?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, this is awesome. I didn't know you could do that. Thanks, girls.
Do you want me to to also have an eye on the chat, or are you sort of facilitating and I'm just talking?
Yeah, we'll facilitate. You know.
Oh, it's not giving me an option for co-host, but I can make you the host and then you can add me.
Okay, let's try that.
Or we're just going to be passing hosts.
No, I guess we can't do it on this one. Okay, that's okay. You'll just be
Daphne, you can just put your lipstick on. Use this as a mirror.
I know. No, this one is like
totally put
it's
lipstick
really
on.
sticky and it has to dry. And if I mess it up, it doesn't get.
Oh, I get it.
I'm gonna run away. I'll be right back.
Mirna and Larissa, where are you guys based out of?
I'm usually based in Calgary. I just came back home while university is shut down and everything. So I'm Lebanese, but I grew up in Guinea in West Africa. So that's where I am right now.
Wow, that's a big change. And are you guys experiencing this? I mean, I know it's everywhere, but is it where is COVID-19 you are? Yeah.
Yes. It started like last week. We were just at 8 cases, and then in a couple of days, we're now at 30. And I guess here it takes a bit more time for it to be tested. We don't have infrastructures. It's a poor country, so it will take some time for everything to be assigned, for everything to come out at the surface.
Well, we're a very rich country and we're not doing much better. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's embarrassing, and it's like a national disgrace that we can't do better. So I think if this is how our country is handling things poorly, I worry deeply for less wealthy and less, countries with less infrastructure. So.
Oh yeah. So we'll see. You're in San Francisco, right?
I am. I'm in Berkeley, right across the bay, and so the good news here is we've been sheltering in place since the 16th, so it's 2 weeks as of Monday, and it's working.
Yeah, you guys started really early because my brother's in San Fran as well, and he was like, one of the reasons it's working in San Fran is because I think you guys sheltered in place really early.
Very early. So we were the first, for sure, to truly shelter in place, not just say practice social distancing and schools canceled. I mean, schools had already been canceled for at least a week in a lot of places, I think, but the messaging and the severity, how we were being asked to treat it, was really different.
Yeah.
And it is definitely, there's something about being told that it's working that is really heartening when you're like, why am I sitting at home?
Yeah.
So that's good.
It's gonna take some time, but I will see. It's better. I don't know. It's just right now it's so overwhelming because of everything. It's like the healthcare systems are overwhelmed, and I think that's the worst part of it.
Yeah, I think that's the very worst, is that, and then that continued uncertainty where we don't know day to day. No one can say how it's going to be in a week or a month.
Somebody was saying that we're living in COVID, every day is a COVID year. Right? It's every day is so long and complicated, and
it had already felt that way for those of us in the US who are political nuts and living with, we've joked that living in Trump's America has felt it's the same way. We are so much happens in a week.
Yeah.
That crime or that horrible thing he said already feels like it was a year ago and it was just 2 days ago. And you add this on top, it's like time has no meaning any longer.
Yeah, right now. Yeah, like we're just living. It's like the craziest thing.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, all right.
Just trying to get all these blocks out.
So the 2 or 3 things that I was going to show. Well, also correct me. Clarify for me. Are you still thinking that what you edit this down to at the end of the day is at 10 minutes, or are we going to publish the whole thing? Or
we're going to publish the whole thing. Yeah. So if you do like a 10-minute tutorial, or you talk about how you use templates or whatever you want to talk about, and then we can see if anybody has questions, and that's pretty much it. So just keeping it simple.
Cool. Well, so I'll tell you, and I'll repeat this, is we use the free version of Asana, and every year, probably twice a year at least, I think about whether we need to start paying for it in order to utilize templates and or some of their other features.
Yeah.
And we so far not felt the need to do it. One of the reasons is that our IT team built us using Zapier.
Yeah.
An automation that lets, and so I can show people what it looks like. Let me log into that. But I won't spend much time on this because it's not something you could just do instantaneously yourself. But I'll show them, like, from our company intranet, that somebody can go in and choose the features of an event. And then it will take a series of tasks and put them into Asana.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to know what's possible.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this like ahead of name of event test demo. How are you feeling about everything this week, Daphne?
I got a new client on Monday, so that was cool.
Congrats.
From this lemonade project, they remembered me and they needed to be online. So
even greater that they're like, you're like, it's paying off already.
Yeah, totally. Because at first, Bernie, my husband, was like, "We're like, what are you thinking? Like, this is a lot of work." And I'm like, you know what, Bernie, if we don't get in front of this, and like, I can't network right now, and if I don't have visibility for my brand and my business, no, it's going to be just too, like, I'm going to be lost in the crowd.
Yeah, you know what we're doing? We would normally at this time of year be taking a lot of our potential referral sources out to lunch. And those are like really large venues in San Francisco, some of our favorite clients, and not being able to take them to lunch and meet up with them. We decided we were going to send them Grubhub like gift certificates to like order in lunch. Yeah, so we're like, order in lunch and then get online with us and sit down to lunch.
Have they been doing that?
Yeah, we had the first one yesterday with Fort Mason Center, a large waterfront venue here. And I also think it really buoyed the spirits of the person on our team who's helping with sales. She's like, it felt really good to connect. It feels really wonderful. I think this is going to be memorable. Like,
totally. You have to think outside the box like that. Exactly. I love it.
Yeah. And then she was also able to get some intel, like a lot of their bookings are still in place. They're feeling good about the long term. May and June weddings are still booked there. And they're not getting a lot of cancellations yet. So like
that's cool. Yeah.
Going out and taking everybody's temperature, literally, unfortunately, figuratively too.
Yeah, totally.
All these metaphors we have where you're like,
I know. Oh my God. Megan, who's in my group, she had like the best metaphor. She's like, this, I don't know if you've ever been in a snowy place, but she's like, this is like hitting black ice. You don't put the brakes on. You just drive, more carefully. I'm like, oh, that's such a good metaphor.
She does. Maggie and I work with her as a coach, and she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's gonna do a webinar for us too.
Nice. I personally adore her, and it's great. And she's a really great resource for us. We get a lot of value out of her.
Okay. We have two people waiting. I'll just let them in.
Oh, we do. Just wait.
It's
We gotta get ready. Okay. Yay, we have customers. Okay, I've got the recording on and I'm just gonna make sure. Okay. Ready, Larissa.
okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. Paige is teaching how to track, manage, and connect projects with Asana. And Paige has produced events for Salesforce, Udemy, University of San Francisco, Bloomberg, and more. She has successfully managed events that have had over 500,000 people, and she's currently working. Oh, well, I don't know if you're still working on a 1,000-piece puzzle.
My second one.
You might have finished that one.
Finished the first one.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to give an orientation to our lovely guest today. What we're going to do is you can, if you click on the bottom in participants, you can raise your hand. So why don't we all test the raise your hand feature. So I'll go raise my hand. Yay. And Larissa can lower them all for us. And then the other thing is we are going to use the chat feature. So at the bottom also in the chat, if you want to just write, you click on the chat button and then just write your name or anything that you want to tell us. It should say chat to everyone. Awesome. Hi, Lori. Hi, Paige. Great. Looks like raise your hand if you couldn't figure out the chat. I think we're all good. Awesome. Hi from Deborah. Great. So I'm going to give the floor to you, Paige. I'm going to pin Paige. And Larissa, if you can spotlight Paige, then she'll jump up on everybody's computer and we can get going. Thank you for helping us today, helping entrepreneurs around the world.
Hi, everybody. So I admit, not when it comes to Asana, but when it comes to a webinar, I'm new to this and I'm winging it a little bit. While I start talking about how we use Asana and a little bit about what we do to make it work better for us, since it's such a robust tool, would you guys mind sharing, and we'll come to it as we can, whether you use Asana, like in chat, if you would say whether you use Asana now and what you use it for, and how many people you use it with. Just curious, and it'll help me sort of get a sense of where to take this discussion to. So I will share that I've been using Asana probably since the second year I joined my business partner at this company. We moved from putting our project timelines in like a big Google sheet to putting them into a project management tool. And we were lucky to land on Asana rather than test driving like a million other platforms that are out there. In the first couple of years this was in 2012 or 2013, in the first couple of years we were doing this, I would have clients who would say, basically like hold up a shiny object, like, oh, but we use XYZ. We use Monday.com, or we use Jira, or we use this. Can you use that? And especially because we're here in San Francisco in the Bay Area where tech is thriving and where a lot of the company's orientation is around agile development, people were, why am I not thinking of the other like competing tool off the top of my head? Maybe one of you will tell me what it is. I've got experience using 3 or 4 of these, and then I had to learn to tell my clients like, nope, we use this one. It's really robust for us. And now I can say we've built it out in a way that means we've got a lot built into it already. So we're going to stick with the tool that we have. And that's important because I think that not shifting between a bunch of different tools is just a way to like keep focus and also be as like highly functioning as possible. Sometimes you can be using too many tools, too many resources.
Yeah, and it's great when you've tested a bunch and you can give feedback to everybody, because it's so confusing with all the project management tools. And then you spend so much time trying each one. Oh, it doesn't kind of work. And then you're like 6 months later, you still haven't, really settled into one. So it's great to have some insight into what's happening.
Totally. And it would be very much as if, to like date myself by saying this, as if every day you had to use Microsoft Word and Google Docs and Word Perfect and Apple's Pages. And you're like, and you're switching between them and you can't remember, like, is it bold or is it italics? And how do I make that happen? And switching between those tools like slows you down and it makes things clunky. But if you can find and land on a project management tool that you really love, and we really love this one, it can do a lot for you. Also, I'm going to just share my screen, and because some of you aren't using it right now, show you what it looks like. And I'll say, as with a lot of these SaaS products, they changed up how they like to show things, like from time to time. So it's evolved in the time that we've been using it. This is your home view of Asana. And when you create projects, they show up here and they also show up on this sidebar. You can invite other people to it. You can, we invite our clients to individual projects and we can invite our team to entire projects. So that's similar to Slack as a messaging platform. And I'll show you briefly like how it lays out project tasks. So here's a set of tasks I've created. It's loading. And this is a general view of all of these. And if I refine, I'm going to get into this a little bit more in just a moment, but let me just show you a slightly different view. I want it to show me a different view. Within an individual project, you'll see it as a grid. And this isn't a very useful one. Let me find you another one. I want to show you like a project with a ton of tasks in it. Here you can see the task itself, and then when there's an assignee for it, if I put my name here, I show up, and a due date, and then the due date shows up. So that gives you the function to sort by assignee. It allows you to sort by due date. You can sort by section. There's a lot of flexibility within the tool itself. So one of the things that we did at Kennedy Events as we grew, is we recognized that a lot of these tools were very similar. And they were, like a lot of the events say like 70% of the basic function is the same, right? For almost every event, we have to have catering. For almost every event, we have to have a venue. And we're gonna have, when we go on site, we're gonna have a cue sheet that shows us all of the cues for the stage program, and we're going to have a list of all of our vendors. So why not have a set templated list of all the things we have to do to plan that event, so that we aren't starting literally from scratch every time? How can we take a set of tasks off the shelf and drop them in? Now, if you pay for Asana, which is like a lot of SaaS products, a per person, per user, and it can get astronomical. Like as your team grows, it can get expensive quickly. But if you pay for Asana, you can have something called templates, and you can keep those. But then I haven't found those to be, in looking around at that, I haven't found that to be as nimble as what we have. So we built an event creation tool on our back end in our little intranet. And I pre-populated this a little bit. When I landed
on Paige, this is based on like a Google form, right?
It is. Yeah, this is based on something like a Google form. I think it's actually called Ninja Forms, but you can do it with a Google form. Mm-hmm. And I have it, when we have a new project, there's a bunch of things that it does. So I'm digressing a little bit from Asana here, but it helps us like set up a new email address and new Google folders for that project. But the biggest and sexiest thing that it does is create Asana tasks for us. So when I tell it that I need to create Asana tasks, here's all of the sections of tasks that we've built in advance. So if I had a really big event, I could choose add all events, but add all tasks. But in general, I would say, oh, this is a conference. It's definitely going to have AV. It's going to have a pretty advanced budget. It doesn't really have any entertainment. It has a lot of complicated food and beverage. And I just go down and I click these things and I submit them. And within, I want to say minutes, but it's probably within 15 or 20 minutes, a new task, a new project is created in Asana, and it's pre-populated with all these tasks. So right now, when you're looking at this Marin Humane Gala and you're seeing these not assigned to people, that's because the project has been created, but the team hasn't gone in and done all of their assignments yet. So now every single task that, and you can see them all here, all of the F&B, food and beverage tasks are in here, and the team just has to go in and assign them to themselves. So that has saved us tons of time. And it's built on the back end with using a combination of Google Form and Zapier, which you guys might be familiar with for automation.
Mhm.
A whole other webinar on Zapier, and I'd have to loop in my IT guru to do that.
Yeah. And then how would you do this manually? So for people just starting out, and you had mentioned before, just to clarify for everyone, that you use the free version of Asana. So everything that you're showing us is with the free version. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And so here's the thing you can do. You can produce this whole Marin Humane Gala, which is for the Humane Society up in Northern California, just north of San Francisco. Super fun. It's like very heartwarming right now for us to be planning something with like kittens and puppies. And when it's over, if we're producing it in 2021, you can duplicate the project. So if I've now got this all built out with assignments for the people on the team who do it and with the due date, I can duplicate it. And even if I'm going to freak out my team by doing this, but if I go in and I mark off these tasks as done, did you see my narwhals and unicorns?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's like a little feature to just, it's like add joy or something like that they've got on the back end. You could turn that off if that's distracting to you. But if I mark those as complete, let me just, sorry, part of it is because of my screen share. I'm like trying to see you guys and see other things. I can filter, it automatically filters this so that it's got incomplete tasks. But if I want to see completed tasks, there's the things that I've already done. If I want to see all tasks, here's the whole list. So let's say Marine Humane Gala is over and all of these tasks, hundreds of them, are checked off, except for the ones that always say, archive this project and send client a gift. So I go in and I check those off. And then I know in 3 months they're going to renew with us, and it's 2021 and it's months away, but we're starting to plan the next gala. I can go to this project and unhide all of the completed tasks like I just did, and then duplicate the whole project and start all over again. Now, if I had a completely different event, I could still, without the tool that we built on the back end, I could still go, and we used to do this all the time, say, okay, this is a conference. What's the most recent event that we planned that was most similar to this? And I could duplicate the project and start from scratch. And maybe there are 20 tasks in there that are really only relevant to the prior client. But that is a huge time saver. And once you've built all of that, no reason to reinvent the wheel. And that way we're also like continually improving, because we would add tasks and then we would add tasks and learn from the way we do something. Maybe you never thought before that you need to have somebody double check the AV order. So you add a task to double check the AV order, and now that becomes something you do every time because you duplicate your work and build on the previous thing.
Right. Oh, and then Nadia's asking, if you don't unhide the task, will they not duplicate? Is that
they will duplicate, but it'll look like you've created an empty event. And you'll be like, where are the tasks?
And they're all hidden and completed.
Yes, yeah. I've had that. I've had my team, I've done it too, where I've been like, oh my God, what just happened? They're not there. And it's almost certainly that this is filtered, like that it's filtered to just incomplete tasks. And you've got a project where you took it off, you took it off the shelf, you duplicated it, and it looks empty, but it's just that they're all completed. And you can go in and you can also, if something's marked complete and it goes away, you can, come on, all completed tasks. You can uncheck it. So you can always get it back. Like, I didn't mean to do that. I haven't done it. I still have some work to do. You can get it back. I thought it might be helpful. Let me tell you where I want to take the conversation, and then if there are other questions, we can do questions first. But I want to show you how I filter this stuff and have searches and reports for myself, because this can get overwhelming. Like, we can be planning 10 projects at a time, and there are hundreds of tasks and 10 people on our team working on them. And suddenly you're like, I don't know where to start my day. I don't know which project to focus on. I don't know which task to focus on. When something's late, it shows up in red, and suddenly you open up Asana and you're like, I'm very bad and I'm very late, and now I don't feel like I can do anything. I just want to go take a nap. So that's what I'd like to show you. Before I go there, is there any other questions I can answer?
Just a question about when you invite your clients, what happens if they use a different project management system?
Well, they need to make a choice. What we typically do with our clients is offer them the opportunity to get in here with us. It really depends on the type of team, the type of client, and their own sort of level of engagement around this. Some of them don't want to see this at all. They're like, we're going to have our weekly check-ins with you, and you're going to report to us how things are going. We don't need to see the minutia. Some of them are going to want to see the minutia and be creating tasks for themselves as well. And some of them want something in between. Like they want to be able to glance at it, but they don't really want to engage in it. Most of our clients fall into either the first camp, where they don't really want to see it, or the latter camp, where they just want to be able to glance at it. And then they're perfectly happy to be assigned an opportunity to get in here and poke around and look at it with us. And then they leave it. If they fall into that middle camp, which tends to be like more hands-on, or where they've got a lot of responsibility, we tell them either you need to kind of get in here with us, or we need to talk about another mechanism for making sure we can help you make sure you're getting your work done, but it doesn't, like we kind of all have to get in the pool together. I have declined to say, we will not like get into Jira with you as well, because then you get into that mess that I mentioned at the beginning, where you're sort of toggling between two different but similar products. Now you've got two to-do lists going.
It gets really confusing. We've had that too with our clients. Yeah. Somebody's asking, if you're using the free version, how do you build teams and invite clients? Does it work the same as Slack? Because in Slack, you can't really invite clients, but you can invite users, or?
So I'll tell you my experience, which is all I can really do. There is but I worry a little bit that it might change, like that we might be grandfathered into an upgrade, like a bigger freemium version than what they offer right now. Because that, SaaS companies like to change that all the time. I don't know what the current offering model is, but we've got at least 10, probably more like 13 or 14 team members in here, and they're in with us, and they can see all the projects. And then you can invite, I believe, you can invite clients to an individual project, and there's no additional cost. I think up to 20 people is what we have. And if that still bears out or not, I'm not certain. It doesn't have that same level of limitation or benefit where Slack gives you those unlimited like single channel users. It's sort of a all or nothing. They're going to count every person, no matter how much or how little they're using, as one whole person. So we definitely have to go in here periodically. And I've had like, oh, I don't even recognize these names. These are 3 people who were on a team from a client 3 years ago. Let's, archive those accounts and move on.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. So let me show you some of the ways that I use like reports and searches to filter and focus. Over here on the side, you'll see reports. Some of these sort of come preloaded. These ones I think that say tasks I've created, tasks I've assigned to others and recently completed, are sort of preloaded by Asana. They didn't used to, and I used to have this search myself. So I've built my own, and my favorite one is I am the roadblock. And what it shows me is a search that I created, and I'll show you how to do this, that is just tasks assigned to me, due in the next 5 days, but I think that also, it automatically shows you tasks that are past due when you say things that are coming up, incomplete, and that have been assigned to me by somebody else. If I wanted, I could further filter that. So it was like, just show me this project. If I wanted to go in and do focused work just on the Marin Humane Gala, I could say, just show me tasks that my team has assigned me in Marin Humane Gala. And that's let me not be the roadblock holding back my team from getting work done. So I'll do this as if I'm doing it from scratch because I really like this. Search feature at the top starts with all sorts of like assumptions about what you want, and I immediately go to advanced search, and it gives you all of these things. So I'll say like, let's say it's assigned to me, and I'll just pick one project. Let me pick something useful, sales, and I can't think of a time when attachments would be handy, so I skip over that. Incomplete and due within the next 1 day. Oh, that's good. If I have told myself, like, I'm sitting down at my desk and today I'm going to focus on sales, let's see all the tasks that are due. And it's going to come up with these things. And notice how tardy I am. All of these things are in red. And then one of the things that annoys me a little bit is that it doesn't automatically sort it by a thing I would find useful. So I sort by due date. And then now this is helpful. I can work from this, I can focus, I can set a timer and just drill in on sales. And if I want to come back to this, if this is a view I find useful that I want to come back to all the time, I can save this report, give it a name, sales focus, save the search, and now it shows up over here under reports. Another way I've found useful to do this, and it's funny because I've got this one called Robin Past Due, and if my teammate knew I was doing this, she'd think I was picking on her. But I have if you manage a team of people and you want to check in on their work, you could do a search like this. It's like, just show me all of the tasks that this team member has been assigned that she hasn't done yet. Which just lets me take a glance at, is she up to, like, hello. Robin is super up to date. Like, she doesn't have anything to do.
Women don't deserve rights. Women don't deserve rights.
Women don't deserve.
Women. Fuck women. Paige Buck, you look like your fucking forehead. Your forehead's so big I could land a plane on that shit. Jesus.
What you did, Deborah.
Can I just say something nice to y'all beautiful ladies?
You know what's happening? We're getting Zoom bombed.
Can you
send me news of your fucking crocodile head.
Mute all?
Yo, Paige, you're the reason we know there's Neanderthals.
Why did you mute us?
You can't kick me. I'm a hacker, bitch. I have your social security number.
Yo, chill out with that.
Okay, I think I've taken everyone out. I'm not adding anyone else in.
Have you guys heard of this happening?
No, that's so weird.
So that's
I actually have. I will send you, Larissa and Daphne, like a protocol that we have to follow, so that then we don't get Zoom bombed anymore. Like, I saw it on Twitter.
I'd love, like, post that for everybody. Daphne, you're still muted, so you might want to unmute yourself.
Oh, right. Thank you, Larissa. I was like, can you mute that guy? Can you kick him out? Thank you, Myrna. You're all about process and procedure. That is great. We totally want that document.
Sorry. Daphne, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, I know Lori and her team are hosting a big workshop on Zoom coming up, so she's all excited that she lived it live in preparation for hers. Can you unmute Lori, please, Larissa?
I was just gonna say that I haven't experienced that personally yet, but a member of our team did, here, I'll put my video on while I talk. A member of my team did share an experience that she had with the University of Calgary, where somebody took over not only like the chat and the speaking, but they took over the screen sharing and started showing a pornographic video, and nobody could stop it. So everybody just had to leave the chat or leave the meeting. My understanding is, apparently the word on the street is that if you have the encryption, I don't know if you have to have the paid Zoom account to have the encryption, but apparently you can do end-to-end encryption, and that is supposed to protect you, but
But yeah, we're leaving these open because anybody on LinkedIn or Instagram
Right, of
can
course.
join us.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll just have to figure something out with Myrna and Laura.
But I almost wonder if we have to start incorporating it into like our housekeeping at the beginning, that like if somebody takes over the screen, just leave and then I guess maybe try to re-enter. I don't know. But
Yeah.
Good
unfortunately, it's happening, and yeah, I haven't experienced it well until now. But what I heard about my team members' experience was pretty bad.
So I know we did. We have a setting because we've heard of that happening. But so if you get kicked out, you can't come back into the room. So that's helpful. And if you don't have that set in Zoom, they can keep coming back. So you have to do that in your settings. So that's like a really big deal.
Taking note.
Yeah.
This became a 2-part webinar.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Lori.
I definitely want to know more because I host some other open meetings that, and I just heard about this over the weekend, and exactly what you said. I heard some pretty graphic porn was shared, and nobody.
Yeah. So we got to make sure that our settings are that nobody can share the screen other than the speakers. Yeah.
Well, you guys all handle that with grace.
So thank you, Paige. Sorry about the interruption.
No worries. And Myrna just shared a great, thank you, Myrna. That's awesome. I need to.
Great.
I'm like, bear with me while I copy and paste that into something else for just a second. And then I'll go back to what I was sharing. I think I was I was showing you guys saved searches. Let me come back to that now. Okay. So I was saying one of the other ways that I use saved searches that I find really helpful is to check on other people's work. I don't micromanage at this level, but if we ever have a concern or have a question about how things are going, I could have a little like saved search living of somebody else's tasks. Or if I am training a new team member and I'm helping her with her workload and how to triage, I could just have a saved search of like everything that Katie is working on. And when Katie and I meet and talk, we can go through it together and she can tell me how she's doing. And I can also show her the value of a saved search like this. The other ones I find helpful because I don't know if any of you ever have heard of David Allen's Getting Things Done. It's like kind of a seminal productivity book and technique. But one of the challenges that arises is when you assign a task to somebody else and then it kind of goes out of your head. Or it's not out of your head, it's waking you up at random times because it wasn't critical, but it was important. And periodically you find yourself wondering, like, has she run that report? Has she gotten it back to me? Am I ever going to hear from her again? I should check in on that, but then you don't. So I had this saved search, which was tasks I've assigned to others. And I can tell that it's deeply outdated, but it's great when you look at, let me actually not jump ahead here. This is a saved search that shows up in reports that I built at one time that's meant to show me everything that I assigned to somebody else. And I can refine that search so that it's only showing me things that are incomplete. And I love that in the search function itself, it has assigned to and not me is one of the things. Instead of you having to say, Brent and Katie and Susie and Daphne and Larissa, you can just put assigned to anybody who is not me and listed as incomplete and assigned by me, and it will run this search. See it run this search. There, now it's showing the more contemporary grid format. Here are things that I've asked other people to do and when it's due. And you can see that like some of these are like languishing things between me and my partner, and Maggie's my business partner. Some of these are like when I look at this, I can tell these are not critical because they don't have a due date assigned to them. So Jess has a number of things that we'd like her to do. And interesting, I'm getting a request from Laura to control this content. So that's just a heads up. I'm going to decline it at this time. And what was I saying? Sorry. With with the task that Jess has, because they're not assigned a due date, I can tell that they're not critical. But if they were, and I was meeting with Jess, I could quickly be going over her tasks with her. This is a great place from which to take a meeting, right? Let's talk about the things that you've got on your plate. Let's talk about how to get clear on them. I think we are being Zoom bombed in a different way. And I'm going to stop sharing because I don't want to see that on my screen.
Larissa, can you, yeah, you deleted Laura. So I think it was Laura.
I don't even know how she did it because I declined to have her overtake it. So that was like a little
sophisticated hackers.
Sophisticated hacker with nothing better to do because
yeah, then right KKK. Okay.
All right.
I'm
glad that we could attract this sort of attention.
Yes, totally. So yes, now I can see that everybody on the Zoom is people I know. So we're good. We just got Laura's name didn't look like a kid, so
there you go. No worries.
And Larissa says there's people trying to get in, but she's not letting anybody else into the meeting.
They must have a way of searching like
for Zoom meetings, yeah.
Public Zoom meetings. It's very curious. So I think it might make sense to just pause and open it up and like take questions from you guys, and I can share and show and answer whatever you guys would like.
Sounds good. Thank you, Paige.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a question? You want to raise your hand? I think this is all super new for a lot of people.
I'm curious to hear like what you guys each do in your business world and what you think you might want to use this for.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Daphne, are you using Asana or do you?
We have actually something super similar, but we built it ourselves. So yeah, I don't know how new Asana is, but we built it when my projects were getting too big for me to keep in my brain or on a piece of paper. So several years ago, and then my husband's a programmer, so he ended up building something super similar, just maybe not as cute as Asana.
Yeah, and they're always changing it. I mean, the narwhals and the unicorns have been around for a while, but they're always slightly changing things. And you come in on a Monday and they've rolled out a new feature, and just like any SaaS tool, you're like, where did they put my controls? But it works out.
That happens
I see
our staff too. When we're changing stuff, we're like, where did that thing go?
Yep. Lori, I see you saying that you'd use this for fundraising. One of the things in any project management tool that I recommend is, this is my personal preference, and I don't know where I learned this more than a decade ago, was to make tasks always start with an action verb. So because one, it inspires action, right? Like call this person, send this email. Respond to, review, research, proofread are all things that tell you what you actually need to do, instead of what I've seen a lot of people do before I sort of insist on this from my team, is just put in AV order, catering, get back. And then sometimes they'll even say like, caterer, get back to them. And you're like, put the action verb at the front, because it tells you or the other person exactly what needs to happen. And the other thing it does is it makes it uniform. So if you're running your eyes down your list of things to do, you can see, I have five of these things are calls. Well, okay, I'm just going to take time out right now and focus on calls. Or proofread obviously requires more deep focused work, so I'm going to pause and proofread. And I found that to be like a really helpful way to keep everybody aligned in a project management tool. Deborah, I see you saying you'd use this for yourself and to keep track of projects and ideas. I use this with my husband and some like nerd household.
That's awesome.
I've used this for planning trips, like just things I want to do. But we've used it for our home renovation and for project managing that. And we can assign things to each other, and you can have little sections and headers. And then of course, it can also be like, you haven't done these 10 things you said you were going to do. They're all past due.
Can you email him the past due list?
Yep. Oh, yeah, Nadia, you'd use it for construction. I have some personal experience with that. It's not as, probably not as robust as what you do, but it is super useful. I mean, I cannot think of a project that it wouldn't be useful for. And it's nice that you can have multiple, projects going at once with multiple people in them.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that was super helpful to see it on the inside. And like I said before, like you just never know what a piece of software is going to be like until you dig into it. So it's so nice that you're showing us the insides and how you use it.
Yeah.
So Mirna's asking if you would use it for anything planning related.
Yes, anything planning related, anything that you can in your head, like drill down to a project.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people use it for other things, like in the same way that people use Evernote, which some of you may know, or use like different notebooks for different things. I've seen people use it for reading lists or movie lists, or, and I've found I don't, but I think that's also because I spend so much time in it that I kind of crave another
another way.
Method for using it. It can also, it can be useful for much longer range planning. And you saw that a lot of our tasks didn't have to do due dates assigned to them. I heard a tip from another entrepreneur recently, which was she has a project that she calls end of the world, not the end of the world, because especially in this moment, it can feel a little overwhelming. But I try to remember, it was something like, the edge of the world. That was what she called it. The edge of the world, kind of like where the sidewalk ends. It was her list of like someday or maybe projects. So she might say like, someday we want to become a certified green business, but it's not a priority now. It's not something I'm going to look into. And rather than put it on my tasks and then have it show up constantly and be in my way, I'm going to put it in a project called the edge of the world. And periodically I will look at the edge of the world and see like, is that something I want to take on now? Is now the time? Or do I just leave it there as a someday? Larissa, I see you asking if instead of a deadline, it can be linked to Google Calendars to schedule a time for specific tasks. That is a great question. It does have a number of integrations. I'm going to share again now that our lurkers are gone. It has a number of integrations. It may indeed have one with Google, but one of the other things it has that I really like, let me I don't know how many of you use Slack, but I'm bringing my Slack screen up now. Can you see Slack?
Yes.
Okay, so, whoops. I'm gonna go into my general channel of Slack, which just has regular team updates, like a Pilates class someone took today, because we're sharing lots of things to cheer one another. If I drop a message into a team, like if I were to say, hey, Brenda, can you tweet about this class that I'm teaching with Daphne right now? I can also then, if I'm like, why am I dropping this to her here? I can just assign her an Asana task. There's a way to do that from within Slack. There's a Slack Asana integration you can set up. And so just to show you, apropos of nothing, Brenda has a migraine today. So I wrote that I was thinking of her. And then I can go in with the Asana integration, which is very easy to set up, and create a task from that. So I might write something that I then think, actually, Paige, this is something you need to do yourself, and create the task right here. Or Brenda might say, yeah, thanks for asking me that. Let me take that on. And then I could create the task. So let's say I said to her, Brenda, would you tweet that? I could say, tweet about Asana webinar and assign it to Brenda. Choose the project that I'm going to put it in. And I'm just going to put marketing. And it goes in, probably has a KE marketing for Kennedy events. And it's searching right now, pokey, probably because I'm on Zoom. But all right, you can choose the project that it goes to, assign it a due date, and then it would have the associated conversation in Slack and a link back to it. So if she needed to go say like, what webinar, where? she would be able to find it. And you can see that now Asana tells me it's done this, and I could say, share this so that Brenda can see that I've assigned it to her. And if I now go back to Asana.
Very cool.
Let's see if I can find that assignment, which just came up. There's the task that I assigned her, tweet about Asana webinar. There's the description with the note that I pulled. And here's the link she could click on. And she could, if she needed to be reminded, like, what was this whole conversation we were having about Asana webinar? What Asana webinar? She could click on that and go back and see the whole conversation and have the context for
Awesome.
it.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we had talked about that before, and then
yeah,
the Slack integration, because I thought that was really fun. And I think everybody should be on Slack. So if your team, your virtual team right now isn't on Slack, then you're losing a lot of productivity and losing messages, right?
And now is the moment.
Yeah.
Not using Slack now is definitely the time to go figure that out. Myrna, you asked if I had a physical PM tool, like a calendar, post-it, agenda. Do you mean like, do I still kick it old school with something like this whiteboard behind me? I definitely do. This actually, well, it's funny because up here is the calendar and down here is the whiteboard. And my office is a little in flux right now, which is why the whiteboard's on the floor. This calendar shows me our projects for the whole year and the team members that are assigned to them. And then the calendar is sort of just for keeping track of where I am in the world, which right now is like, is it April? It's April. It's April. Yay. We lived through March.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so I'll admit that I am one of those super early adopters of virtual online tech, and I get all excited about things like Asana, and you can tell we like live our business in Asana, but that doesn't mean I don't still need a notebook and a wall calendar, and I do sometimes have to like migrate between them and figure out which is the best place for which piece of information.
Deborah's loving this right now. As you can see in her screen, she's got her post-it notes there, and she's always like, get a book, get a book.
I mean, I graduated from, I've been doing event planning for 20 years, and both Maggie and I lived through the binder years. Like we are, you know, I used to have such delight in a binder with like 20 tabs, and there's one for catering, and there's one for audio visual, and there's one for the venue, and there's one for contracts. And every once in a while I'm like, oh, I could go back there. Like that would feel good, but I wouldn't be able to grow my business if I just
totally. And Nadia and Lori remember that from the belly dance days.
Oh, tell me about the belly dance days.
I used to run a belly dance studio, and Nadia and Lori were my students. And yeah, I had one of the largest studios in Western Canada, and we were very process oriented too, with all the binders and the, you know, all the things we needed to do. And big events that we would host would all be like, you know, registration, waivers, and all the things that need to happen. Yeah,
totally. And someone just said, and the long Excel lists for tasks. That's basically what Asana has replaced. I mean, we used to use Excel, and then we migrated to Google Sheets so that we could share, and then we migrated to Asana. And at first, Google Sheets, I loved, and both Excel and Google, I loved that I could just sort by different views. So I would be like, show me tasks by due date, and then I'd say, show me tasks by category and then by due date, show me tasks by category and then by person and then by due date. And the nice thing is Asana lets you do all of that.
Yeah, you can like, that's the biggest thing is the sorting, right? And the search ability. That's the difference between paper and Excel too. Like Excel gets pretty crazy. Yeah. And I think Myrna, I think Myrna's questions are a lot about maybe university, and like I think she's doing her PhD. And when I did my master's, what we did is we did like what our end product was going to be. So like our final paper, or like, you know, a gazillion final papers, and then work backwards with project management, but we were using Excel.
Yes. Well, so you just kind of brought up like a critical project management orientation, like way of thinking. I've heard other event planners call it a work back document. And when first I heard that phrase, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then they said exactly that. Like you start from the end product and you work back. Like, oh, I do that in my sleep. Like that's what we do as event planners, is we start from what is this going to look like when it's complete? The Marin Humane Gala is going to be an evening with 700 people on a lawn with sitting at banquet rounds of 10 people each. There's a stage. There's a moment when people get to meet the puppies and the kitties, but mostly this is a grown-up adults only party. There's a catered three-piece dinner, and then you work back from that whole thing to what are its component parts and what needs to happen when in order to make that all come together on its day.
Yeah, exactly. And that was new for me. Like I struggled with getting organized to do my master's, and I think that was like the biggest thing, where it's like, oh, I got to read this book by such and such date. That means I need to read 2 chapters by this week, and then 2 more chapters. And I was like, what? Like I was not a micro planner like that. So that was super interesting. And you probably naturally are just trained by your profession, right? Because you have so many little details.
I mean, yes. And that does not mean that I'm not perfectly capable of procrastinating or failing to do this in my personal life. Like, ask me if I'm that organized around getting my taxes done. I am not. So, yeah, that's the way that rolls.
Yeah. So, yeah, I try really hard because I'm pretty chaotic. So, Larissa and other people on the team keep me accountable, because I don't want to be the bottleneck, like you said. I don't want to be the one blocking people from doing their work.
That's great. Well, any other questions I can answer? I'm like scared to open it up and like get bombed again, but I can see that we're just us. I feel like I know everybody here now.
Yes. We're all friends. Now we can hang out on Zoom every once in a while and talk projects.
Totally. As I say, ping me on LinkedIn, find me anywhere. I love being a resource, especially around stuff like this, but I love being a resource for people.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Paige. That was really fun.
Yeah.
And very interesting. Something new for us all, right?
Yeah, now you can say you've been Zoom bombed.
Yeah, I've been Zoom bombed, and we handled it like ladies. So we're all great.
Very good.
Thank you. Larissa says she loves these organizing tools, and she's going to use some of the strategies. And Natty's going to do it for her personal life. Get organized. Yay.
Nice.
Fun.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been lovely connecting with all of you.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again just for fun.
Absolutely. Well, you said you're doing one
yes, I have to do my webinar announcement. So next Wednesday is Zero Inbox. We have somebody coming to teach how to get your inbox to zero, and I love that. So much stress relief. The following Wednesday, it's like a mental health. It's Mandy Balak. She has 500,000 followers or whatever it is. She teaches every single day. She has like a motivational something that she does on social media. So she's going to come teach us. That'll be super fun. And then the Wednesday after that is Megan Flatt, who you know, and you guys work with her and love her. And she's also about getting super organized. She plans like the quarter, the month, the week, the day. So just being like really productive. And she helps entrepreneurs grow their revenue 2 to 3 times from using all her strategies. So I'm super excited about the next set of webinars. Nice.
I can give a huge plug for Megan. She's been really great at helping my business partner and me focus on growing our business. Different from any other sort of business coaching that we've had, we come in with her and it's just hyper focused, and it's amazing how we can come in like if something feels, as the metaphor she used the other day, it feels like a tangle of necklaces in your jewelry box where like you try to pick up one thing and you can't, and you just give up and throw it back in the jewelry box. She has a way of being like, I'm just gonna pick up this one loose chain, and suddenly you're like, how did you do that? How did we get that? How do we find a through line through that problem? And it's the real gift of hers.
I give all those necklaces to Nadia in the belly dance days, right? Like, Nadia, can't put my necklace on. It's so not me. I need a coach on detangling.
That's Megan. She's really good.
That's funny.
Cool. I look forward to attending some of those.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye. Have a good afternoon. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
And it's just back to the three of us. Oh my God, an adventure every time.
Oh my God.
Larissa, you rock. High five. I thought it was like, Larissa, can you not remove that person? But I was muted and you had it all taken care of. Like, oh my God.
I was going to be a Zoom call where I'm not freaking out.
I can't even imagine Larissa's face. I wish she was on camera. I could be like, oh my God.
That's why I don't put the camera on, because I know if anything goes wrong, I'll start panicking and
Totally. And I totally thought I was talking to you, but I was totally on mute. And yes, thank you so much for sorting all that out.
could have thrown them out faster. The problem is when multiple people talk, like their names keep switching. So they go, so I'm hitting on the.
Oh, they keep moving around.
Yeah, and I'm like, will you just stay in one place?
She's trying to catch him with her mouse.
Larissa, what you can do is like you can go for the gallery view, then it's not gonna switch around and then you'll have everything in front of you.
Oh, the gallery view.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't want to go to the gallery view, because I wasn't sure who's, like, if anybody is on.
Oh yeah, no, it's my
recording.
Yeah, my recording. So whatever I'm seeing. And then Myrna, I guess for next time we will have the co-host, and you can have several co-hosts, so that'll be easier. Because I'm like, I couldn't do anything. And you couldn't do anything. And I was like, oh shit, poor Larissa's all handling it.
I felt bad because of the words they were using and how it's just
yeah, it's so rude.
No, that's horrible. Like, I've heard of it, but I never experienced it, and it's like it's.
And
really
so, what do we
ugly,
need to know from this this Twitter thing?
So you have the points, the bullet points of the talk.
Why is there someone in waiting?
In the Word document.
So I opened up this link that you shared here.
Show this thread.
It's a thread. Yeah. Okay. So.
Where do I click?
I think it's gone from.
Oh, here. Suggestions for protecting your room meeting. Where is this?
I don't think you're sharing with us.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm sharing my screen, right?
Yes, you are, but the file, we don't see the internet. I think you're on another screen or something.
Oh, okay, hold on. Share. Yes, this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says
one. Yes, and then you open the comments, and then she will say what to do.
Oh, I see.
So first log in, and then there is something to enroll. Like there is some kind of
go to settings, click
person.
meetings. In meeting settings, which control what participants are able to do. Okay, so you mute all microphones, block re-entry. We got that one. We need to make a list because I think I have to do this every time.
Yeah.
Let's add this to our document. Okay, and then
okay, so yeah, that's what we need to do.
So they managed to bypass the microphone and re-entry settings. Wow.
Wow.
Kept muting them, but didn't work. When accounts were removed, new ones would come in. We weren't sure if this was one person regenerated or a group of trolls. Okay, so then the waiting room. So we did that luckily. So got the waiting room because then it allows you to pre-approve them.
Yeah. The problem is with the waiting room, you don't know who's legit.
Yeah. Close the Zoom to block entry of any new participants. So we need to.
We can, for example, when you post the link, the document, the flyer for the webinar, we can ask people to join in with names and say and put a word on the side, like something like just to make sure that these people are real people that saw the flyer.
Right. So we could do name and a hashtag or name and a something. Is that what you mean? Like,
oh
yes,
that's how we would tell if they heard about it from our thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like just to know if the people are real and like they join in knowing what they're joining and not something
So we could do
else.
something like name.
Like for example, for each meeting you can, like next week it's like a 0 inbox, right?
Yeah.
So you can have 0 inbox kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. That's a great idea. And then I think I saw somewhere where we can do like you pre-register.
I can also look for more information about these things. Zoom.
Oh my goodness, it was her PhD defense. Oh my God.
Yeah.
About 100 people there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, Zoom says you can report here.
Oh, okay.
What does this do?
Where does that go to though?
There is something at the meeting password, screen sharing to host only, disable file transfer, disable join before host. I think that you have, right?
Don't use your personal meeting ID. Yes, that's a good one. The host controls at the bottom. Oh, and you got to do advanced sharing options. So let's look at that. Where is that?
Oh,
more.
one participant can share at a time.
I'm not the host, right?
Yeah. You can share. Oh, okay.
So when you click the 3 buttons, Larissa, it has advanced sharing options?
Yeah, so it has advanced sharing options. There are 3 options. There's how many participants can share at a time, only 1. And who can share, so here it says who can share, only host or all participants. So what we can do is make the speaker a host as well.
Yeah, the co-host, yes. Okay.
Yeah, co-host, and then settings to only host can share.
Only one screen at a time, or just only host can share?
Only host can share.
Okay. Great. That's really good. What else? Only signed in users. If someone tries to join your event and isn't logged into Zoom with the email they were invited. No, we don't. We're doing public meetings. It's always smart to lock your front door. Okay, so we can lock the meeting.
I don't think this will work because this says once the meeting's already started, no new participants can join.
Oh, I see. Okay. You can't lock and unlock?
I don't think so.
Oh, here in the participants pop-up, click the button that says lock meeting. You want to try that?
But yeah, so if we say lock meeting and somebody joins in like after we've locked, they won't be able to join.
Okay, let's give it like 15 minutes because then we lock it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So we can announce that if you're not able to come in the first 15 minutes, we're locking the meeting, right?
Yeah.
Locked meeting, 15 minutes in, announce on social media or whatever.
There was also one more thing that it mentioned. So can you go back to the blog?
Set up your own
2 factors authentication.
There's something called a meeting ID and a password. Do you think
we don't want passwords because that's the whole thing about
keeping it open?
Yeah, we want to keep it open.
Okay.
You can mouse over the name. Oh my God, I can just imagine you being like, ah!
Yeah.
Allow, so this is the rejoin. So we just got to double check the rejoin. It was on, thankfully. So
No, rejoin was off.
yeah, it was off. Yeah, rejoin.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like blocked. You can't rejoin.
You can't
My
rejoin.
mom had just told me that somebody at the university had that happen where they showed like a porn. They grabbed the screen and showed the porn, and she was teaching a class or whatever.
It is horrible, seriously.
Totally. So it's so ridiculous.
Like, it's already annoying that everyone is on Zoom and everything. So it's like you don't need to come and annoy everyone even more. Like,
You know how to mute everyone at once, Larissa? Yeah, they were taking it off though. Is there a way to like they can't unmute themselves?
I don't know if they can do that.
Okay.
normally we shouldn't be able to. If the host mute everyone, only the host can unmute. But sometimes because they're
unmuting
let me try.
They know that they are hackers. Maybe they know how to do it.
Can't have private chats because they could be, for example, they could be messaging the presenter without us knowing that they're control,
sorry,
right?
can you give me a second? I'm just trying something.
Okay.
Just try to unmute yourselves if anything happens. Okay, got it.
Okay, awesome. How did you do that?
So there's a mute all button, and when you click that, there's a pop-up that comes that says allow participants to unmute themselves, and you uncheck that.
Okay.
So what we can do is we can just mute all and just ask people to raise hands or ask a question, and
that's great. That's perfect.
At the start of the meeting.
I can't wait to tell because Champions Creed is hosting live like classes every day. I'm like, I gotta tell him all this stuff or he's gonna have problems.
That is for members only, right? I'm assuming. So they have like a private Zoom.
Yeah, but it's open. Like anybody can find the link. Okay, so turn off file transfer, turn off annotation, disable private chat.
Did you put the mute button? Yeah. Yeah.
Private chat. All right. Okay,
I'm learning something about each webinar.
Know. Cool. Okay, and then can you put everybody in the waiting room? Like say there's like a porn happening. Can you stick us all in the waiting room at once and then bring us all in?
Let me try. No, I don't think I can do that.
I think it's before, just a sec. Yeah, I think it's before we joined the meeting.
Yeah, so before you join the meeting, everybody's in the waiting room and only the host can allow.
You can put us in the waiting room. I was just wondering if you could do it all at once, but so if you click,
I can put you in the waiting room, but I have to select like individually and go like put in waiting room.
Okay. I thought it said something about, let me just see here. Ooh, we can personalize the message in the waiting room. That's cool. Okay.
Actually, yes, do that. And then you can also ask, oops, no, maybe we don't want to do that. Because if
they'll see it. Yeah.
They'll see it.
Yeah.
We should do a blog about
the waiting room is a great way to screen who's trying to enter and keep unwanted guests out. How do we do that?
Hey guys, I wanted to show you a really quick demo on how to use Zoom meetings waiting rooms. Now, this is a really great use case for things like virtual office hours, a virtual queue. The cool thing about this is people in the queue don't know who else is in the queue. And as a host, you can admit people in one by one, remove them, and then admit the next person. And you can admit them in any order that you like. So how you can do this is really simple. It's the same workflow, whether you have a Zoom Basic account, Pro, Biz, or Enterprise account. All you need to do is click Schedule. Let's call this waiting room demo. You set the date and time that you want to have this. And I like to have my meeting ID generate automatically. So once you have all your information, you can go down to advanced settings. And what I recommend is, one, obviously you have to have enable waiting room checked in order to use this feature in the Zoom meeting. I like to uncheck enable join before host because I want to be the first person in my meeting. And then you can either mute or unmute participants on entry. The important thing is to make sure this is checked. It shouldn't populate. You're gonna see, and you can see that I am in the meeting now. And as a host, you'll just wait until people start popping in. Meeting room. Oh, we have our second person that just pops in. So basically, Michael and Ryan don't know that they're in the waiting room. They don't see each other's names or anything.
I think this is what we're doing.
Awesome.
We already know this.
Go to the hospital. All right. So then I'm gonna go ahead and admit.
Yeah, that doesn't help. It was not an advanced tutorial. How do you keep unwanted guests out? That doesn't make sense. I guess if it's not public, you know who's trying to get in.
Yeah.
The best way for public events is to enable the waiting room.
No, I was going to say you've got some really good pointers on the doc, and I think you should turn that into a blog.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'll probably make a video too, because it was like, that was just so crazy. Okay, awesome. I think we're good, girls. We'll see what happens next, and if you see anything that we don't have in the doc, then we'll add in. And we're definitely going to make a top 10 list. And thank you so much for being here. Can you imagine me by myself?
Daphne, I wrote the bullet points for from the meeting. So if you want to add anything you can just copy paste it on your LinkedIn post.
Yeah, we'll do it on the blog.
Awesome.
LinkedIn profile. So yeah, thank you. It's super helpful. And I think it was a great meeting, but we will have to edit a few things out.
Yes, of course.
That's pretty cool though, the tool. I really like
it. It's what?
The Asana tool is pretty cool.
Yeah, really cool. Really cool.
I'm gonna try it.
I was telling Lon last time my husband about it, and he was like, yeah, I've used it once. It's really cool. Once you start using it, you're gonna get so addicted.
Yeah, to put everything in there.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay, awesome. You know what? I actually have a question for you two ladies. I'm trying to reach out to personal injury lawyers in San Francisco. Okay. I think that I should do these interviews that I'm doing are really cool. So what if I could do it with them, but where would I host them? Like, what would I do? That's where I'm stuck on, like, what's going to help the lawyers get visibility, or how would this thing work? So I've already got my YouTube is being used for that. Do we maybe make like a business account and share them on there? Like, why would they meet with me?
Like, what the topic would be, where you would share that conversation.
Where do I share that conversation? Actually, good question. So what I'm thinking is they're looking for people who are injured, like it's personal injury lawyers. Yeah. So maybe I can join like a Facebook group and then post it on there. That would be like a good fit for them. Or maybe we create a Facebook group and then promote it, and then that's where these, like, so get a bunch of people in there. that's where these interviews would go. Seems like a bit of work.
Good.
I would say,
Also, in terms of like Facebook group, it depends on what kind of Facebook group. So like if you're looking for a personal injury lawyer or something like that, you're not necessarily like, who's the target audience? Because
People who are injured.
yeah, but they don't generally join a Facebook
I
group.
know. That's why I'm like, that's why I'm a little bit stuck. Personal injury. What do we got for groups?
Yeah,
maybe
probably lawyer groups there are.
videos or blog would help. It's like
Okay.
if someone is hurt, they're gonna go and Google something, right?
Yeah.
And then there are some places where they'll go to find this information. So the best way would be to have a blog with keywords where it's like when you write something, then someone is looking for a personal injury lawyer, that's what's gonna pop up in their screen.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't. Yeah, like videos, I don't know, but blog, it's always a good way for people to know if the content is of importance for them or not.
Yeah. So I think I'd have to wait because we have to build the personal injury website, and so I have to wait for the website to be done, and then that's where it would go.
Can you not have it as a blog like the one for Lemons to Lemonade?
No, because I don't want it to like clutter up Spartan Spark. It's like its own project. So what I'm doing, Myrna, is I'm moving Trustini into personal injury. Because yeah.
The Trustini website?
Pardon, Larissa?
Can't we host it on the Trustini?
Yeah, we could, but we have to change it over first.
Oh, okay.
It's all about cannabis right now. And actually in California, they're not so open to cannabis. It's really interesting.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, it's like one of the most legalized states, but the business community, I mean, it's super niche. Whereas because I think Canada opened, countrywide, then like everyone's okay with it. And it's so weird that in California, when you talk to like investors and different things, they're like, oh, cannabis. It's very like low class or whatever.
That's so weird. Because I was talking to my brother and he's like, oh, the cannabis stores are considered essential service, so they're open during this.
Yeah, yeah, they are. It's really funny. Yeah, but yeah, nothing like people kind of like I realized that because when I went to talk about it last time I was in California, people were like, "Oh, cannabis," and I was like, like I'm like, it's a positive business thing in Canada.
They're still in the United States technically, so
they're still what?
In the United States, so they still have a little bit of that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they're. What is this guy's posting twice a day? 250 members. Boo.
I'm guessing that these are just like a group of lawyers. So
yeah,
it makes sense to post.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like growing practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you never know because it's like common with like it's connect with attorneys, so maybe people might join it. You never. I don't like. Can we know who is who in these groups?
Yeah, you can click on members. This one's a public one.
Yeah, looks like
they're all attorneys, which is good for us to like find the attorney client. Yeah. So I'll probably start joining these groups. But I want to find that end user so that I can say, oh, I'll make we'll have an interview and I'll show you to an end user. Maybe it's not a good idea. I don't know. So my plan is not to like.
It is a good idea. You can do a Q&A session.
Yeah, and actually, I just want to get their knowledge because my website is going to be. Actually, I found a website. I should show you guys because this is the direction that we're going to go. We're not going to show who the lawyer is right now. We're just going to match people up. Maybe they'll get like a couple of options, but I think the big thing is that we're going to be providing the leads for them. So we're going to make the appointment with the lawyer. So it's different from the other websites that are out there where people get to choose who they want to work with. Because they all look like hell. Where does this thing go? Who was like, oh, here it is. Oh, no. So here. Okay, this website is pretty much does like exactly what I want to do. So this is how the program works. So you kind of buy leads from us, and we get the lead for you. We ask them for their details. So that's one of the ways. And can I go back like this? No, I can't. And then they said, well, how do you do it? And the way that they do it is they have all these different legal websites. And so my plan is to just compete with them on search engine optimization and different advertising things that these big companies are not working Facebook the way that we are, like Facebook ads and different kinds of ads. And then what I figured out was this website's called martindale.com, and that's where they sell to the lawyer. And then they have a different website, for example, avo.com. This is where they get the leads. So that's how they structure the business. So this one's like find a lawyer in my area. And then this website says to the lawyer, hey, we can get you leads.
Oh.
Right? And then they own both the, I think, do they show all the websites that they own? Yeah, we reach over 25 million consumers. No, this isn't the one, but they show like these are all their different websites. So they just build like a ton of different websites. And the difference between us and them is going to be we're only personal injury, so we're going to be super niche. And then the other thing is, I think we can be stronger than them on search engine optimization. I really think that. So I think that's what that. Oh, right. And then for the lawyer, the benefit's going to be we don't just give you like somebody's name. We actually make the appointment for you. So we're in a way closing the sale a little bit deeper.
Okay.
So that's the idea. So I have to build something like this. Like, so really it's trustee, but I'm not going to show everybody. And then the other thing with these websites is like every kind of lawyer. And right now we just want personal injury, because then I can be super targeted with my advertising. So these guys only do search engine optimization where people ask questions, but what we're going to be doing is actively looking for injured people.
Okay.
Yeah, that part's different too. So that's what I do. Well, that's it. Let's go have lunch.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for your help. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you. Bye.